for AI Mindset. I'm Alex. A project about connecting ideas, people together. Built a couple of laboratory, as we call it. One of our project is this space ecosystem. It's work society. At least we will try to develop it. And we connecting people on creating some product. And this sprint is dedicated to founder operation system. It's a stack of tools that we can use as a founders, as entrepreneurs to build our ecosystems around us in business, in real life, in family, in some productivity task.
One more time, my name is Ray. I will moderate today's session, Mindset, and trying to put a lot of different folks, really create interesting folks together. And this initiative is basically one of the sprint of founder operation systems. That is why we're gathering so many founders. And this is the first session around this, and I believe it should be quite good. Because today we have 3 speakers, and basically they will showcase how they use AI in their day-to-day life in venture funds. And it will be 3 of us. The first one will be Yury. He's head of scouting in ULTRA.VC, who is and Stepan Gershuni. He will speak about how he used AI to reach more investors, and not only, but he basically good at it. Stepan, who is also with us today, he will talk through his lens. And it's very interesting because Yury and Stan, their lens more like Web 2 focus, and Stepan's is more like Web3. So it's different words, but at the same time, it's the same deals. And everybody is interested in AI right now. So we will have 3 speeches. It will be like 15 minutes, from 15 to 20 minutes. If you have time in these 20 minutes, you can ask some questions. Otherwise, it will be more on the end of the 20 minutes. We will gather more like roundtables with all the guys, and you will have opportunity to ask more questions if you have. So yeah, we will have recordings, but one more time, it will be not straightforward. So it will be better to just sit here and listen and ask questions online. So I don't want to catch so much time from the guys, actually, because I'm very interested in this topic as well. And I want to ask Yury maybe to unmute himself.
So you're passing the mic to me, right?
Definitely. Yeah, the stage is here.
Okay, thank you, man. Hey, everyone. Happy to see you all. Actually, we with Stan are a bit like in the shock, like since yesterday, because like it was planned to be a like cozy event for like 10, like 12 folks like discussing some stuff. And now we're seeing like 65, like it's crazy. Like there's a lot of interest in the topic. Please, like quick disclaimer, it was planned to be like a cozy where we are sharing like all of our like back end sites. Maybe it's even better. I do not know, but me personally, I do not have like any like prepared, like well-prepared speech like for 60-something people. So actually, ULTRA.VC is a pre-seed and seed VC. We invest in AI native and companies with potential to become full-stack AI companies across Europe, and have some deals in the US as well. We've started actually like a few years ago, like 2-something years ago, with a thesis, like initial thesis was to back impact-driven startup companies. And not only to back them with pre-seed tickets, but also to support them with some kind of like help, some kind of mentorship, because we are not big fans of, although we invest pretty early on, we are not big fans of spray and pray approach. When you invest lots of tickets and keep your fingers crossed that something will like kind of play out. It means that we do, I think, a bit fewer deals comparing us to typical like active US-based pre-seed VCs. Still believe that we are like in the top quartile in terms of like comparing us to like European colleagues. So it's kind of 20-something deals per year. And it allows us to be way more helpful to the founders because, of course, you can't find too many VCs who will tell you that they're not smart money, but we are very strict with ourselves, what we can bring to the table, except the check. Quite often we even skip deals when it's sent to it. We cannot be anything than just asset figures on the cap table. So we used to operate like on a cohort basis, so comparable to like accelerator model. Now we're figuring out like so maybe we'll do some kind of a mixture approach, but like yeah, as I've said, doing like making like 20 something deals per year. And I'm responsible for like scouting. I'm responsible for analytics stuff at Ultra. So basically, I'm the person. Like my main responsibility is to always have great founders around to invest in and support. The current status of Ultra is I believe we know how like by now like we know how to generate enough like pipeline in terms of quantity. So we screen around 2.5 thousand companies per year. So you can like calculate like success rate, the success rate or like the investment rate. So it's like lower than 1%. So and do like 15 to like 20 something deals per year. And when you see look through so many leads, so many companies, it's just like a matter of probability theory to like find some great anomalies. So basically, I believe we are doing pretty good job in terms of generating like enough pipeline in terms of quantity as of now. And when we've started thinking about like okay, so we invest like in full stack AI companies, but where should we apply for like problems where we can that we can solve with AI powered tools? Found out that the like real room for growth is for us to like, and it's an like never ending game actually. As of it is the same for the all of this is to learn how to spot like the best deals and maybe the deals that are hidden from like the public eye and learn. Maybe it's a case of utilizing some kind of AI tools and automations across like our VC colleagues to just like widen the top of the funnel, like the number of companies that are screened. Yeah, but for us, we believe that mostly the major focus should lie here. So not on the widening like this, not only on widening like this top of the funnel, but also in learning how to spot like these hidden deals that are closed like without like even going public. And there are like a few ways to approach this. There is, of course, like this traditional way, and it's like a VC business. So develop relationships with like top funds, with funds that are often do common deals with tier one funds, and figure out the way, figure out those we have like most like intersections in terms of the thesis with, and develop like relationships and like great deals, and hope that they'll invite us. So it's like a typical like VC business. But get into like the AI stuff, there are also like two ways to approach like the problem of finding these companies that are hidden from the public eye. And I call it like innovative intensive and innovative extensive. So let's start with the first one. So basically innovative intensive is that learn how to spot like most promising founders early on. So you can think of hypotheses like X top Gen AI companies employees that have recently left the companies and launched their own startups, or stealth founders, or like spotting the signals from top VCs. Innovative extensive is like, as I mentioned, just widen the top of the funnel. So learn how to screen not like 2.5K startups per year, but 10K, 25K, 100K companies a year. And you can think of hypotheses like AI pre-screening assistants or AI intra-call makers. Today, I'll focus more on the first one, on the innovative intensive, and briefly will tell you what we are like building in innovative extensive as well. And I believe, like I hope that these like meetings, these gatherings will become like regular. Sometime in a few weeks, we'll be ready to like showcase like with a proper like front end how does it work. So, but let's start with innovative intensive, and to remind you, it's like learning how to spot like the most promising founders. Well, actually, when we've came up to this problem, the most like obvious thing to do is to go on market and try to find any existing solutions. that are on there. And actually, we've done that. We've demoed like a few of them, and maybe I can share my screen and share you. Unfortunately, like I'm not allowed like to share publicly like user interfaces, etc. But at least I share with you like the websites, and we'll tell you a bit more about like the insights we get from these platforms. But I believe like for other VCs, it maybe may make sense to at least like request like a demo and to try this platform. So basically, we found like 3 of them. Like 2 of them are more like maybe about pretty much the same thing. And this thing is that they parse lots of data. They parse like Crunchbase, like LinkedIn, like lots of media stuff, etc. So try to have like as like relevant. I try to update like the database, like the data state very regularly. Like Harmonic State, they are updating their database like every 2 weeks. Spectra says that every month. So basically, they try to parse every like parsable startup on the market and apply as many filters to them as possible to help like VCs to understand, to like find most perfect matches. And they are pretty much comparable to each other in casual in a way. So it's can be compared like as like Spectra is a Lego, then Harmonic is more of a like mechanic, like electronic constructor. So basically, takes more time to onboard here, but maybe the outcomes will be a bit better. But actually, they're pretty much comparable. To be honest, like after like demoing the platforms, they are great in all of them. But for our specific case, and our case, like our like bottleneck in scouting is not like not having enough leads, enough companies to look for at, yeah. But is to learn how to spot like the hidden one. I'd say that most of the functionality in both of Harmonic and Spectre extensive does not bring too much value to our specific case. I know the cases of the funds that are really benefiting from either Harmonic or Spectre, and usually it's the funds that have some kind of strict restrictions in terms of their investment thesis. So they either can invest only in a specific geography, for example, or in a very like tight and narrow market. And these funds usually have like less like companies on top of the funnel, so less companies to screen. So that's why they have some. So usually the bottleneck is like on the top of the funnel. So these platforms are like fully like solve their problem. But still, I found 2 interesting features that are solving our specific problems. And these mostly in Spectre, by the way. And these features are called like talent signals and people signals. So basically, what talent signals is a feature where you can pre-build like a list of companies you want to monitor. Like in our case, for example, it's like top companies that are building foundational like models, and the tool proactively monitors like the social media profile, and not only the social media profiles and the media as well of the employees, and spot those who have like just recently left the company and stated that they are starting to build their own startup. The hypothesis here is that people that are working like in the frontier, have like experience of working in frontier technology, they have deeper insights, or maybe not, but like the probability is like higher. Also, the hypothesis is that people with such kind of experience, it will be easier for them to raise at least the first, maybe the second round. Because like for example, if you want to build a company, like building some kind of foundational AI stuff right now, the competition's pretty fierce, and the top like employees of Gen AI companies have some kind of unfair advantage. Let's call it this way. So there is a very interesting feature like with this talent signal, so where you can just like put in a list of like companies you want to track. Then it proactively sends you some calls when this or that person have stated that they leave the company and left the company and launched their own startup. And the second thing is also pretty interesting. It's called people signals, more or even like investor signals, and it's more about yeah, it's called investor signals Spectra. So it's more about so you can like set up a list of investors that like may have or are having like you have like pretty good overlap in terms of like investment thesis. And then this tool proactively monitors and sends signals if like a few of them are interacting somehow with employees or founders of this or that startup. So think of like adding on LinkedIn, or like X, Twitter, X, liking their posts, maybe commenting the post, etc., etc. Usually, it can be a pretty strong signal that they are in the middle of like discussing the deal with a star, and sometimes like the hidden deal. Sometimes you don't even know that the folks are like building a startup, or the startup may be in a stealth mode, but actually it sends the like signal that like some of the top tier VCs that are focusing on pre-seed are like interacting with these founders of this startup, and maybe make sense to like and if you see that they're building something that maybe of fit with the strategy, maybe it makes sense to reach out to them and ask whether like they're raising or not, and maybe try to get some allocation in this round as well. Also, there is a feature like with like, and there is a current hypothesis we're testing with founders that are building at a stealth mode. So of now, founders that are stating that they are building in stealth is we are considering it as a mid power like signal that the company may be building something interesting, because at least it signals that the founders are a bit aware of the like VC landscape and trends, and they are aware that this approach may be used to spark some interest from VCs that they are kind of, we are pre-seed, we're so secretish, so we won't tell anyone, and unless they ask us that we're building the startup. So it's like the value and the strength of this signal that the founder like goes with the stealth will inflate. But for now, it's still like a mid power signal that the company may be building something interesting. So figuring out, like finding these founders and figuring out the way how to learn what they're building is a pretty interesting hypothesis. And to be honest, still much to be done here, not only by us, but market as well. I was approached by a few companies that, and a few startups that are claiming that they can, and they are already like able to predict what kind of thing this or that stealth founder is building. But I've tested a few products, and at best they are telling something kind of, this folk is building in the education space or so. So not so much value. And as of now, the problem is not solved, but there is a potential to, I believe that there is some kind of way to build this prediction model as well. So that's regarding our like innovative, like intensive hypothesis. So as you see, we are not like super actively building our own proprietary tech here as of now, because we've like just research mode, but we've tested like a few things, and I believe like these talent signals, like investor signals and stealth founders hypothesis are pretty strong. I'm not sure whether we'll buy one of these products or not, like in the near future, but at least we'll consider the ways how to maybe implement some kind of our own tech to solve this. So we'll see. get into this like innovative, like extensive approach, like the approach, like how to learn how to screen, like not like 2,500 companies per year, but like X times more. So here we have a bit more progress, like in terms of our internal tech. Almost already built, like at the model level it works, but we do not still do not have like the front end. So unfortunately, I go like walk you through today, like but we've built like AI pre-screening assistant, our own proprietary one. The technical name of the system is Midas. Like we believe it will bring us like a fortune, make us a fortune. Basically, what Midas is able to do is we feed it with like a pitch deck, and ideally the application. I forgot to mention we have so if you go to our website, you see that we already have like this apply now thing, and where we have like a pretty simple type form. So we gather like some kind of inbound applications, pretty like tangible amount of them. So especially in the like active fundraising season. So basically in the best case scenario, we can feed like Midas with like the pitch deck and this like website application, and the outcome that we're targeting is to like rank all these applications to how likely we'll be interested to close the deal with this or that company. So, and of course, there is like some basic criteria like domain, geography, like round size, traction numbers, or whatever. And to be fully honest, this level of tech, I believe that it's like the maximum capability of like such kind of assistance. So they still fail miserably when you ask them to perform some kind of deeper analysis. So applications, I've like depersonalized this. You can't like see the names of the companies, but actually what we did, we like ranked them manually, and also we ranked them through Midas. So we do not have so much time to walk through all of these like criteria, but you can see that many of them. Basically, our major goal was to have as less false negative outcomes as possible. Prefers to skip like it has some kind of potential. We believe these like false negative outcomes will be less than 3%, it will be a success. Current state it's around like 6-7%, so we are on the way, but still like it's already like providing some kind of value, so it's closer like to being like a junior ad. So yeah, in a nutshell, so in terms of like screening of the leads we already have, we have developed like this assistant, and we'll be happy to walk you through like the whole front end thing, like maybe the next time. And in terms of like some hidden deals, like this hypothesis with talent signals and investor signals, in my opinion, are pretty promising.
Sure. VC funds are making the same like founders, still like founder. So you're just looking at what's going on around on this B2 VC tech and stealing the ideas.
I'm not sure it's about stealing the ideas, actually, because like for the platforms, actually, it's not what they're selling. Their ICP is not like VC funds like us. Their ICP is VC funds of a more of a narrow like focus, and they are selling to the funds that have like difficulties with kind of the top of the funnel. I'm not sure it's about like stealing the ideas, because maybe we'll end up like buying from them. But it's how like economy works. So if you see that like it's cheaper for you or more economically efficient for you to build it yourself, I'll be the first one who will share like this feedback with the folks, because I believe that it will allow them to like adjust the strategies, because it makes no sense to pretend that anyone is so kind that will buy just because of a demo, but it really makes sense to give like honest feedback. This is the only way how these folks included will be able to build some kind of huge business, and they're aiming to build huge business actually.
I believe we have a pretty big room for the next event as well, and for the roundtable in the end of this meeting. But let's maybe go to the second speaker, because Stan promised me that he provide some demo on this event. Crossing my fingers for this. Please, I want to see some.
Hi, everyone. Yep. I've put something together for you. Before the meeting, I had like a couple of hours of time to build something. I will share my screen and show it to you. So just a couple of sentences about myself. I'm also a colleague of Yury. I work in ULTRA.VC for a little bit more than a year, and I'm responsible mostly for VC engagement, right now also for some LP communications, and very recently also for doing some outreach to founders. I was really excited about the Gen AI space for quite some time. So my skills were useful in some other areas apart from finding investors. I had a chance to put together a very simple NA10 workflow because NA10 is my favorite tool. I think NA10 is the best. Apart from that, we will use some help of Linked Helper. It's a tool which allows you to scrape LinkedIn, also to put a list of LinkedIn leads, and then it can outreach for you. For the reason of saving time, I have prepared already a list, which I downloaded from Linked Helper. To be honest, you can find this kind of list from some other tools as well. And one of the tool is Apify. It is another great tool, which I will be talking today about. They have a store of APIs. For some reason, it's not loading. Let's see. And you can find different crawlers, different scrapers here. You can find, of course, the one for LinkedIn. So here's some example of how you can do it for, let's find something that can scrape LinkedIn search. We need profile scraper. Yeah, something like that. Okay, actually, I already used it today, and I was looking for exited founders. So you could look for exited founders for different reasons. For example, you want to sell them your startup because you think they might maybe it could be an angel investor in your startup, or they can invest in your firm because it could be potential LP, or you can find them because you believe that you want to keep them close to you because they will start the next company and you will invest in that company. So for us as a VC, exited founders could be a threefold useful contact. So, for example, you can scrape United Kingdom here for exited founders. I'm putting it in quotation because if you put it in quotation, it will be looking for the exact search. There is builds. You can export different CSVs, and it will provide you a very big list of information about that person. Because this scrapes LinkedIn, of course, you'll get information about this person, how many connections they have, where they worked, and all of that good stuff. So going back to our first step, you need to find some lists. So I already told you, you could use Linked Helper, or you can use Apify to find your first list of LinkedIn's. So with that, you can use something like Apify enrichment. This also you can find it on Apify store, LinkedIn profile search scraper. To be honest, like if you put some keywords into Apify, you will find maybe 10 of them which do the same as profile search. Let me find the right one. So right now we need it to enrich our profiles. So something like this, LinkedIn profile details scraper, yeah. Here you can also put them manually, for example, bulk edited, and just paste from your CSV a bunch of LinkedIn's. And in the end, you will have enriched profiles. So here's the result. I got the list of enriched profiles. And then you can start with an A10. So the reason I'm doing some of the steps manually, because it's just faster. You kind of can navigate it easier if you're doing some steps manually. because API is doing something in the shadow, and you cannot control the list as. And also for the reasons of MVP, it's better to start on the small list of like 100 items, then look how it works, and then scale it with APIs much more. So like 2,000 LinkedIn profiles. So here is just an example of how APIs work in n8n. You put your URL, you put method, post, and you put JSON who you want to find. So here is the example of who I'm looking for. I'm looking for exited founders from Germany. This is just an example of a node which can find people. And if I wanted to do everything automatically, for example, every week I want to scrape exited founders from Germany, I could just put it somewhere here and ask my n8n workflow to run every week. And every week I will get a fresh list, and then I will put them through my workflow. So you can see here on the right the list of items and the list of profiles which we received. So there is 100 of them, 100 of people, and you see how many interesting information we have about them. So everything from our CSV. So here you have everything. After that, after you scraped and put all your data into n8n, you put them into the loop. And what the loop does, it edits field. It creates a profile AI. It creates a nice way for us to create. So here what I've done, I created a small description of a person which we are trying to analyze. So here is a short description of a founder, which I think has exited their previous startup. And there I take some variables from our CSV and I'm putting them here. And you can see there is a lot of variables. There is information about their work experience, also what they write about themselves on LinkedIn, their headline, their first name, all of that good stuff. So now when we created a profile which we can put into a prompt, I'm using OpenAI API to send it and to ask OpenAI to kind of rate this person, to say, hey, is this LinkedIn really fits our criteria or not? Do we really want to talk to this person or not? If he's actually an exited founder, for example. So this is called structured outputs. This is a very powerful thing. It allows you to create prompts which will give you in the end a JSON, which then you can parse and you will always get the same structure. This is very, very useful. So you can read through the prompt, but essentially what it says, hey, here is, you are a structured data extraction expert. You work for ULTRA.VC. We are invest in early stage AI native companies. And you are provided with a supposedly exited founder. You need to help to find if this person is actually exited and create a personalized message for the further outreach. So this is in the structure of JSON, so it's structured output. There are different questions I'm asking separately the LLM. I'm asking, for example, exited founder, return me yes or something else. And the description is, so I want you to indicate whether this person has previously sold a company. So the reason for that is because in the LinkedIn, you could have people who are just writing about their experiences. They might not be exited founder, but they have worked with exited founder as a personal assistant or something like that. But this tool will actually read the context and it will understand the context and say, yes, this person actually exited the company. He talks about it in their LinkedIn profile. The same goes for other things. So is this person worked with AI, for example, or is this person sold a startup, or is this sold an agency, or is this person even like interested in startups? So a lot of different flags you can use for your purposes. If you're, for example, fundraising as a startup, you can put, is this an angel investor? Or is this angel investor invested in B2C? A lot of things you can do with this and create as many flags as you want. Another thing, you can create fields with output as a string. So you can ask some things like, hey, create a message based on this profile. So here I'm asking the LLM to create a personalized 300 symbol message mentioning his experience, and I want you to ask him to collab with ULTRA.VC. So I don't have to write those messages, personalized messages. But I believe you understand how it works. Now we parse the replies, because the answer from OpenAI comes in this format. It is also JSON, but it's kind of a content blob of text, and you need to extract the right fields in the right format. So in the end, you get this: exited founder, yes; AI native, something else; startup enthusiast, yes; and you get the message and the description of a person. And then it all goes and gets stored in your Google Sheets. So I can right now show you how it's being stored in the output section. So as you see, like, the loop is going, and it adds more and more profiles to the Google Sheet. Here, as you can see, the description, they say, hey, this person is Paul, an exited founder who's successfully launched and sold business in the property, financial services, and pet product sector. You can also run another similar workflow, and, for example, say, I want only people who have sold companies in the B2C space, for example, or in fintech space, anything. So you could add even more flags, but it's just example. So AI native, something else? Yeah, probably not, because yeah, I don't know, maybe not. Exited founder, yes, because it clearly states that he sold something. Startup enthusiast, yes. Message: hi Paul, I'm impressed by your journey from military leadership to successful entrepreneurship, especially with ARC X and SafeX. Your ability to innovate in consumer tech and pet products is inspiring. Yeah, let's connect. And so it's pretty generic, but it mentions the person, it mentions his companies, and there is clear call to action. So of course you can improve it many folds, but this is a good start. It's better than generic. Okay, so yeah, this is the end. But if you want to improve it, and how we would improve it if something like this would be implemented in our like hypothesis testing for founders, for LPs, or for VCs, the first step would be change the trigger. It would be a cron job which will run maybe every week or every month. Then I would add APIs which will do all automatically scrape for the requirements of our hypothesis. And in the end, very likely we would assign an owner of the person who needs to outreach to that person, and connect CRM. In CRM, it will put, hey, this person is responsible. He should send a message. And also would be nice is to create a CSV from all the list. For example, we assign 50 people to a certain person, and he can put that CSV and put it in something like LinkedIn Helper or Phantom Buster, and then outreach them all automatically. So to save the time. Yep, I think that's it.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah.
What Stan is doing is helping their founders in their batch and the VC fund to find co-investors or somebody who can help them. So he uses actually like every day in his work. And so if you're a founder, just mention that ULTRA.VC quite good at warm helping for every founder. But maybe we can find out what's going on in other side of VC and with Stepan Gershuni, who is actually making kind of the same, but in another world. Maybe it's less LinkedIn in it. Maybe it's more like Kicks, Farcaster, or any other tools. It's interesting how he uses one.
Cool. Yeah. So it's a bit interesting because we had a system. We still have the system that runs kind of AI automation for the fund. And we had a bit of a disaster this morning. We had to restart the parsing. So I won't be able to show that. It's been working. I showed it yesterday. There's a few people on with whom I had one-on-one conversations and showed before, but unfortunately I cannot show you the live demo right now because we are doing reparsing and we have 11 million accounts to run again because of technical mistake. But I can just give a high-level overview. So let me talk about what we do, how we do it, and what is the kind of longer-term plan, and where I think what is the AI native investment will look like in a couple of years. So I'm with Cyberfund. Cyberfund is a proprietary capital investment firm. So we invest about the fund size is around $200 million. We invest in early stage companies, primarily in AI and also in blockchain space. We invest pre-seed, seed, and Series A. Check sizes between $500,000 and $15 million per deal. We try to be kind of research-driven and invest in identify thesis, do deep research, identify the best founders and the best teams in that space. Sometimes lead the round, sometimes follow on. We also run accelerator. We run a bunch of conferences. There's an open source AI conference in 2 weeks in San Francisco that I'm running. If anyone is interested, DM me. I'll send you a promo code. Would be cool to me. And yes. So I think, first of all, super interesting demos and super interesting conversation so far. This is kind of zeitgeist in a sense that most venture funds, most hedge funds, most investment organizations that are trying to stay competitive and win are experimenting and building different products or using different products to augment their work with AI. And I think it's just starting. I think the capabilities will become much better and it will be much more efficient. For us personally, I've been looking at different tools like Harmonic and Spectrum and others. What we decided to do is actually to build everything internally. Why? Because I think this is one of the core capabilities. I think in 5 years, I want us to be an AI native fund. So in the sense that, first of all, we use AI to automate internal processes like finance and generating memos and generating communications, like recording every call, running all the operations, running all the portfolio supports and generally sharing data. And we're actually incubating one startup right now that is kind of like an operating system for companies, specifically starting with investment organizations that allow you to automate internal processes. Not as much discovery and lead generation, more like operations. So instead of having operations team, you just have a shared database where you have all the data, all the calls, all the to-do lists, all your financial information, all the memos, all the information, and then you can ask, you can build workflows for finance, for marketing, for accounting, for legal, for whatever. So in terms of how it works for us, we started with focusing on deal flow generation, and I think the goal for this system is even not just we still have majority of the deal flow coming from the real physical network, but what it helps with is understanding the market dynamics and market environment. And so far, just to give you some numbers, we have about 12 million different accounts and data sources track that we parse every day. And we use that data to basically through the list of filters to identify and come up with interesting investment opportunities or interesting projects, if those are open source projects. So far, we work with a few data sources, and for each data source, there's a different algorithm, how exactly it is parsed. For example, one of them is GitHub. So GitHub is a open source repository platform, platform for open source projects. What we do, we have a list of interesting, relevant projects. So the best open source AI projects you can use. If you go to GitHub API, there is something called Stargazer. You can find the people who were putting star on the specific repositories. Then you can find and filter for the people who heard across these top projects and also were among the first to put the star. And this is our seed that we then use to enhance and basically track those people. Where do they put stars? So these people are early discoverers of the interesting projects. And then for each project, we kind of increase the database of seeds. So what it gives at the end, it gives you early signals on the growing open source projects. Those are typically not companies, you cannot invest in them, but first it helps you understand like where is actually the attention. Like right now, everybody is talking about reinforcement learning environments, maybe interesting evaluation evals for AI, or maybe interesting agentic applications or frameworks. And then we track each one of those based on the filters. Is it a company? Is there a business model? Is it investable? Is it a research project? And it gives me a weekly kind of overview, a weekly digest of the most interesting project from GitHub. Similar thing we have for Discord servers. So there's like a few hundred Discord servers from different AI communities. We just manually set up some channels to follow. Same can be done with Telegram. I just don't find in Telegram. It's typically just reposts from other networks. And then every message, it is tracked by the number of replies or emojis, basically how much signal, how much traction that get, and then it's filtered if this is a link to the company or link to the project that somebody is building, or if this is some useful information about the project that you already have in the database. The most useful, the most interesting data source, I would say, is Twitter. On Twitter, we have, like most of it is from, like we have, I think 5 million accounts at this point. These accounts, it started like how we started. We just manually selected 1,000 top investors, angel investors, and venture capital kind of firm employees or partners to invest in AI. And then we started looking at who are they following. So it's the same idea. I think it was already discussed today. So if you track people on who they follow recently, you can increase this database. And there's also a notion of score. So for example, there's like a maximum score that Mark Andreessen or Andrew Karpathy or Clem, Eigenface Clem has. And then depending on how strong the connection is, how many degrees of separation, we can assign different score level to the people that they follow. And then this is updated based on how, like, if that leads to any interesting leads. So we have like basically two kind of concepts within. We have seeds, and that is like right now for like almost 5 million accounts. So those are people that we track every day, what they do. And then there is leads. Leads are other accounts, but those leads are going through the bunch of filters. So far, there's 3-step filtering process. Step number 1, it is we look at each account and we try to say, is it a company? Is it a startup? Are they early stage? Is this account been created in the past 1 or 2 years? And if this account is active, like is it an AI related early stage company or project? Then there is, and this is done like there's no LLM, there's no like it's purely keywords and looking at metrics and data that you get from API. Then the second step is we use like a cheaper model to try to understand if this is a product. Is it actually a startup? Is it is it doing something? So it's not just keyword, but actually running a smaller model, Llama 4, to understand if it is an AI project, if it satisfies the investment criteria, the investment thesis. That's just a prompt, like similar to the demo that we just seen. And then it starts writing the memo. So for every company that goes to step 2, there's already a memo. So it reads everything on the website. So there's a playwright, kind of headless browser that checks everything on their Twitter account, all the posts. It checks everything from their website. It tries to find the names of the founders. If it can identify, it goes to LinkedIn, scrapes the data from LinkedIn page, and that information is added. And then there's this third tier, the final filtering step, where it is looking for basically perfect match. And to give you an example, like last run was around 900,000 new accounts that were found, and there's only 300 candidates that was that went to the last step. So it's like it has to be super strict, because you cannot realistically manually check, like, thousands of potential candidates every week. You need to be pretty strict, and you need to be pretty comprehensive. So for each one of them, we have a founding team, their experience, how much this company raised, if there's any information, including Crunchbase, data from API or just OpenAI. I think it's GPT-4 or 5 mini with web search that just does it like a quick search. It writes a memo, and I can go and manually kind of read and then probably the most important thing that we have is, once that happens, there is an ability for every team member, and our team is just 3 people, so it's not a big one, but every team member can go and independently read all those memos and put a like on the start, that they feel like it can be a potentially interesting candidate, and that is the beginning of the reinforcement learning loop. Because at the end of the day, it is not just setting up scrapers is easy. You can use AP5, perfect service, super good. For us, because of scale, because like if you have like 10 million, it would be just too expensive. So you need to have like your own infrastructure is 10 times cheaper, maybe more. But that is kind of, that information is available to everyone. I think the unique advantage that you can build on top of that is to build this reinforcement learning loop, where you actually try to, like, even like right now, just lie is basically a binary signal, yes or no, divided, multiplied by 3 team members. But over time, it can be some kind of like I mean, right now we have Granular, so all calls are recorded in Granular. So we have a discussion, just a regular call discussing a startup, and somebody says, okay, like this is not good because like, I don't know, we don't invest in companies that in certain jurisdictions, like we don't invest in Asian companies because we don't understand that market. Okay, so that is recorded, and that is another kind of information for the future. So basically, after that, you can use DSpy or something like this to optimize the prompt and to improve the quality for the next batches for indexing. And then if there is a company that gets 3 likes from every team member, then we can backtrack, basically like back propagation, to see, okay, which of the leads, which of the accounts actually influenced or were following this project, how did it get into the database? And then we increase score for those accounts, because those accounts are great at discovery. And it's random, like we don't know like who those people, I have no idea. Like sometimes it's just like random unknown person with anime avatar. And in most cases, it's a non-person with anime avatar because it's AI, and the AI industry is apparently people watch a lot of anime. So because it's pre-seed, a lot of information is not available. What you can get, you can read Twitter. One thing that I'm kind of interested in, one of the next steps is to do, I guess, I can talk a little bit about roadmap. So what we're planning to do next. First of all, is multi-tenancy, because we want to do it not just for AI, but for other verticals, specifically Web3 and robotics, which are different criteria, different heuristics, different kind of filtering. I'm like, I have this hypothesis that you can use scientific data like archive or basically a key movement of people in academia, somebody who's living, who has like a good citation rate or published prominent papers and leaving academia and starting a new startup, kind of like World Labs. That would be a good signal before they actually raise money. Obviously, following relationships, and then intros, because for every startup that you identify, once you have a lead, let's say, so 300, that was like an outlier because it was just a huge batch last week. On average, it would be for us between 10 and 20 new leads every week. So for these, let's say, approximately 15 companies every week, I want to know how am I connected, because cold outreach, it does work, but it doesn't work as good. In most cases, it's just you have like there's some way to have a warm introduction, and warm introductions work better if you can get it. So one, like, I don't know how exactly to do it, but one way to do it would be to have like a sandbox with the browser where I'm signed in my LinkedIn profile on behalf of my authenticated LinkedIn profile. I can go to the profile of the founder and see common connections. I don't use LinkedIn really almost ever, so I don't like believe in LinkedIn. Yeah, there's a lot of noise on LinkedIn. Let's put it this way. But, another way could be somehow highlighting the Twitter accounts of the funds that we partnered with. Like, for example, we invested in 20 different funds as LPs, it's like fund of fund structure. So like through those, we can get like maybe warmer connections. Yeah, so this is an open question. And that's been an experiment that we've been running for the past 2 months. So it's like actively in the development. And as you can see, it doesn't work perfectly because we had this emergency. I am actually happy to show, like, for those who are interested, it will probably take, so the full parsing, it would take like 4 days, because again, there's rate limits. Also, we cannot use official Twitter API because it will cost like $1 million per month. There are ways to, like, actual infrastructure is not expensive. So for this scale, our infrastructure cost is about $500 a month. So it's super cheap, including LLM token. Actually, we added GPT-5 recently, so maybe it would be like, I don't know, but it's within $1,000. Definitely like cheaper than, a typical analyst for the venture fund. And and it's been like a new experiment running for the past 2 months. I think this will evolve super quickly. I think there's a lot of, first of all, like, where's the alpha? Like, what you can do, how can you make a lot of money, make something super interesting with this approach? One is hedge fund strategies. So I've been talking to a couple of discretionary hedge funds that been basically building in-house Cursor for trading. It's a pretty sophisticated tools, much more complex than what I'm describing. But those tools are like tracking if you're investing like in public markets or if you're investing in crypto. You can track like people who own significant percentage. What do they do? You can track other funds because their wallets or their accounts are public, or you can track like SAC information. You can track news behind the news, basically. And that's been, like, hedge funds been doing it for like LLMs, not LLMs, but NLP been a tool for hedge funds forever. So it's not new, but LLMs were never as powerful as they are today. Let me maybe show just quickly like how it looks, because I think I've been talking like I don't like talking. I like demo. So this is the graph database that we have. Like this is an example. Like, these are all the accounts. Like, you can see the 1,600,000 something different data points. Each data point is an account. Like this guy, he's co-founder somewhere. I have no idea, but we know that he's a person, and this is also a person, but some of these would be startups. And then you can kind of zoom out. Like, this is only 5,000 because not load 11 million, the computer will blow up. But you can see there's like some clustering, so we can use some interesting math on like this. In Neo4j, there's this concept of communities. So it's basically like subgraphs that you can create and graph traversal algorithms. So there's like a lot of complex math that might work, might not work, but it's interesting. Then this is the front end. It's extremely ugly. Why? Because nobody wants to do. Nobody likes building front end. This is in process, so this is like the actual scanning in process. Right now, there's like 500,000 of accounts, but I can show. There's none. Yeah, unfortunately, there's none that's already fully scanned because we launched a couple of hours ago. But you can see that, for example, there is a I don't know, like this is a fund, for example, for each of the company. There's a bunch of information, how it was discovered, all the data from Twitter, and then we have like these tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 filters that I was describing. And at the end, for those that will be the finalists, there will be a report, so there will be like a 2-page memo generated based on all the information from Google, from LinkedIn, from their website, from Twitter, on founders and everything. And then there's like different filters, like is it high signal firm? Is it a candidate for seed? Can we use these to discover new accounts? Is it like all the information that we scraped from the website will go there? And then it outputs the JSON, and we also have an API internally, so I can actually query. Like I use Cursor. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe
Yes.
not, but basically, like I can use API to query and use it in my Cursor to automate some of my work. Yeah, this is like
Great.
yeah, maybe I can answer questions. So sorry for fuck up with the demo, like not intentional, but super unfortunate.
We hear not about TED talks. We hear more about raw reality, because nobody said it's easy. It's always like this, and this is why we're here to share this experience together. Maybe we can just make short kind of like roundtable around this topic with Stan and Yury, and maybe we'll have a couple of questions so you can answer them, ask them in chat. It will be much more easier. So if you have them, just ask. But the first question from my side will be for everybody here, because everybody thought about this filtration of millions or hundreds or thousands different accounts on different platforms. What is the craziest, interesting, or just field in your database that signal you that this company is crazy good and you should invest in it, but you didn't believe it previously?
Yeah, good question. I can say that a lot of that comes from like from a pre-seed stage. That comes from founder energy, from a lot of interpersonal.
I don't believe there can be just one characteristic that will just kind of turn from the upside down, like the whole like picture on the company. But talking about like AI native and like full stack AI companies, what we found, like what is really important like for us, and what is a strong signal that their tech folks, it can be either like a CTO with like the devs, or maybe CEO they are genuinely like excited about like playing around with LLM stuff. So they are doing it just for fun. You know, it's still a part of it is still like a kind of black box. Still have like to like iterate for some time with the tools, with the fundamental models, etc., in order until you like find some kind of okay-ish like so, and the chances you'll find like actually like are much higher when like the folks are just like natively enjoying like playing around with these tools. So it's pretty easy to spot, like because like they are always very excited also to tell that what they found out. They are always come to the calls with some kind of insights. This like framework or this like set of prompts, and it worked, or they always have some kind of internal jokes about some unexpected results. So but it can be a pretty strong signal that they are more likely to find something that works, actually.
I like the idea of Yury. I think I could create some filter which will try to understand if there's genuine interest. It would be like interesting site. But to be honest, like it's hard to find something creative. A lot of VCs just check the employment history. If you worked in OpenAI as a researcher right now, most likely a lot of VCs will be interested. So there are a lot of weight on employment history, I believe. because all those big companies, they are also filters for greatness, and definitely we need to look for them. So I have also created different tools which scrape Crunchbase for the list of companies which look for excellence, and then we find companies, find founders which have been there and now they are creating startups.
Okay, so we have a comment here as well that maybe students or alumni from top tier tech school, great signal.
Can be, but based on our like experience, on our track record, like investing in students, like we still do not have like we had a few attempts, but no successful one. But we'll see.
But let's speak more about founders, maybe. And when I spoke with founders, any like advice, because it looks like a founder right now should be a full-time influencer to catch your AI tools, just to make a lot of connection, telling everybody about his company if you scraping his LinkedIn or talking in Twitter. So it's kind of a part-time job to catch you.
Not always, I'd say. Like, one of the best paths to like get aligned with VCs is to come through the like warm intro. Like actually, it does not take you to be an influencer or a public person to just like meet some people and build relationships with them and maybe ask them for this interest. You will be surprised how many founders, like especially like first-time founders, are building startups because they just like internally just want to live a lifestyle of a startup founder. You'll be surprised how many of them. And you know, it looks fancy like just from the outside because you're building some like novel thing with a crazy like-minded folks, like going to conferences, raising funds, etc., etc. But it's in reality it's fun until you are waking like in a cold sweat like at 3 a.m. because you've had a nightmare that you're running out of cash and you have no money to pay your like folks, only to find out that it's the reality, not a nightmare. Then all the what I'm talking about is the journey of building a startup, whatever it's like AI native or not AI native or whatever. It's like a journey of taking like punches and sometimes knockdown. Every time like you were asking yourself of this, I used to be a founder like a few times, so every time you're asking yourself like, why the hell I'm doing this? Like, and if at this moment of time you do not have a strong answer to it, chances are you'll just give up. But still, it's like just a probability like game. So you're testing hypothesis. So you cannot take anything for granted when you're building a startup. So if you have like this strong intrinsic motivation, it just helps you to keep going for long.
You mentioned about like I think it's a negative signal. Like people should not spend time trying to raise money. People should spend time trying to increase like MRR or find product market. And if you do that, then the question becomes like, how do you choose the best investors? Because you'll have too many inbounds. And the same for founders. Like you should, or same for VCs. You should. Like ideally, you want to invest in the companies that perform, that get traction. Even if it's like maybe before revenue, you look at like some, are they able to hire great people? Are they able to get a lot of GitHub stars? Are they able to get a lot of attention from the customers, etc. So this will change the rules of the like this is not changing the rules. Like this will create some offense defense play. Here where people try to manipulate the other side of the market, but in reality it doesn't change anything. I think what's more interesting and what's more deeper, okay, how will it look like in 5 years? Because on the founder side, the amount of opportunities will radically actually decrease. Why? Because the economy will become a huge reinforcement learning machine that will improve itself, and the AI will be kind of, you will like build an agent, and if that agent is doing something helpful for the humanity, for world economy, it will grow. Like people will start paying for it, and it will get more. And probably like large labs have a lot of resources and head start to do it. So, it doesn't mean that all startups will disappear, but I think the notion of creating a business and the cost of creating a business will significantly change. And that also means that the notion of investment and the early stage investment will change. It doesn't immediately it won't immediately work for all industries, but it will progressively capture more and more. And once it works for one, like once you have like accounting that is fully automated, they will start just like folding one by, and at some point it will be a significant part of the economy. So it will look like more like public markets rather than.
So what do you mean? So every company will have a kind of a token? How do you mean a public market in the pre-seed seed stage?
It means that you can run a large scale. Like, I don't know who will be doing it, if it's going to be like a huge open source network or decentralized network or Google or OpenAI, but just purely technologically, you can run a huge reinforcement learning, like with thousands of experiments every day, like basically have a Codex or Claude out like 1,000 new ideas every day, tracking, like finding one that, like, let's say you create like 1,000 products, you put $10 in each in marketing, you find one that is profitable in that one day, you close everything, and then next day you take that one and like generative, like genetic algorithm, you create 1,000 more copies of it with different, business models and features, etc. And this is what Elon Musk is writing, for example, on Twitter. Like that's the idea behind, XAI and OpenAI is talking about it. Again, it doesn't mean that startups will disappear or venture investors will disappear, but I think it will be a significant part of the economy. And that's interesting how, like, what you can, like, I think this analytical and data-driven approach systems, like if you can actually build an alpha by this system, you can capture some parts of this.
It reminds me what you said about hedge funds and how they use right now AI, like in every tool to invest in public companies. Yeah, I agree with you that there are right now more builders and one solo founders who make the project even without VC market. At the same time, I'm kind of from this hedge fund experience, because every time any hedge fund find a very promising deal, we have a market. We have 10, 20 other hedge funds make the same algorithm. So basically, they share the market themselves push. And maybe we can also ask Yury and Stan what they think about the future, because it's really interesting question, and how they see this market in 5 years. Because investing in AI and it's
it's a very existential one, and like an honest answer is no one knows actually. Like AI does not follow like the traditional, like this linear like growth path, so that's why it will really depend on some kind of breakthrough moment. Like they may occur inside like some kind of like top tier like fundamental model companies, maybe inside some kind of a startup, but it's really like hard to predict. It's like the levels of automation, like the stages of automation. For now, most of the founders, like as stated here, the first level, some of the like most advanced are like trying to build some kind of second layer companies, but like without any breakthroughs, I believe vast majority will be like second, maybe third layer, but still it's like needs some kind of progress to maybe fifth layer. Or maybe fourth layer, like some of the companies may achieve. Not the fifth, I do not believe in it. Like in a horizon of like 5 years.
Okay, great. Thank you. Stan.
I'm looking forward to a time where like complete copy of our world will be created just to test one hypothesis. Kind of what Stepan said. This would be crazy. Yeah. If there was just a simulation to test just one hypothesis, I think it could end up simulation and simulation and simulation, and all of the simulation just testing startup hypothesis.
Okay, guys, it was a very, very interesting topic. One more time about what we're doing here is AI mindset plus ULTRA.VC plus Cyber Fund. Basically, we gathered this event to find out how AI is used right now in real projects to find out the best deals for VC market. It's rough discussion and we have plenty space for the next time, I believe, and to find out maybe new flows, how it actually used, maybe to talk about actual points and to make demo. We really love demo. We really love showcases, how it really works. And we make it every Thursday. We talk about founder operation system from different points, not only from VC side, but it is basically, we should cover this one. And we covered it from founder side as how they find VC funds, how they found new customers, or how they operate the mind, basically, because making a startup is a very stressful situation for every founder, and you need to keep your mind very clean for this. So, one more time, thank you very much, everybody.